Hello, and welcome to POMA Does, a podcast produced by the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Medical Association. We provide a voice for osteopathic medicine and share insights on issues important to osteopathic physicians, residents, and students, as well as those who embrace the osteopathic philosophy. POMA's mission is to promote the distinctive philosophy and practice of osteopathic medicine for our patients, our members, and the communities we serve. Thanks for tuning in.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the POMA DOs podcast series, sponsored by the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Medical Association. I'm Elizabeth Williams. I'm a second-year family medicine resident in Erie, PA at Mill Creek Community Hospital. I'm involved in local community theater, local Philharmonic chorus, and a little bit of national anthem singing at some of our local sports games. Today we're going to be talking about how music and art affects us and benefits us in our careers. And I'm joined here by Dr. Rattini. I'll have her introduce herself as well.
Hi, I'm Melinda Bertini, or Mindy, and I'm kind of in the other end of the spectrum as far as my medical practice. Been in family practice for coming on like 38 years. I'm in practice with my husband, Angelo. We do family medicine and geriatrics in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I went to school in West Virginia, though I am from Bucks County, Pennsylvania area originally. And, I just got to tell you how our involvement in the arts is being affected, by our medical practice. I kind of have a funny story about how I ended up in medicine. I was a folk musician in the 60s and 70s. So in college, I played, the folk venues, coffee shops, radio stations, things like that through college. And I applied to medical school. And by the time you apply to medical school, almost everybody's on like an even keel as far as qualifications and grades. So I went down to West Virginia to interview, and the two doctors who interviewed me were actually in a bluegrass band. When they found out that I played like banjo and dulcimer and all, they got really excited. And the entire interview was talking about medicine, and I ended up getting to school. So I kind of feel that maybe music actually made me become a doctor, at least gave me that, foot in the door. So how about you? How did you start melding your two lives together there?
Melding together is still kind of in the works. Really, for me, it's been an outlet and kind of a motivator and a social experience. I did musical theater all growing up. And actually kind of similar with its experience in interviewing, we get to the point of interviews for residency and, everyone has research experience and clinical experience. They've been aides, they've been scribes, they've been techs. And my job all throughout college was being a character actress at a local amusement park. So my personal statement was all about how, that experience gave me a lot of experience in communicating with people and working with children, working with adults. It was a very small amusement park, had a lot of like little kids, season pass families, and adults with special needs were frequently in our park. So I had a lot of interaction and exposure with those groups. And it was just a really wonderful experience. I wrote my personal statement about it and how family medicine felt like that job that I loved so much. Like when I'm in the office, I still have that passion. I have that joy. And I wanted to keep translating that into practice locally, kind of continuing it a little bit as well.
That's very neat. Yeah, you weren't Elmo, were you?
I was not Elmo, no.
Okay.
I played a Wild West, Annie Oakley character.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you may fit right in with my style.
Yeah. Wind show, we had guitar players, we had everything. It was
that is neat. Yeah. Like I played some, but med school's busy. So like I did play some there, and I did play, with some of the people I went to school with. But, once I got out, like residency, I played a lot less. And then I had 3 children, like, right after we started practice. So like there were 10 years, if I would pick up a guitar or an instrument, like once a month, I was lucky, so, but then as time goes on, you get more into a rhythm, so to speak, no pun intended. But my children became interested in like listening. They would hang out and listen. And my daughter really got me back into it when she was in college. She helped run the New Jersey Folk Festival, and she and I kind of got in a band together, and we actually did end up as a full band, which happened a couple of years later, playing the New Jersey Folk Festival. So it ebbs and flows throughout your professional life. You just make time for it. But then at some point it took hold and really became a huge part of my life. Like maybe 10, 15 years ago, I just happened to fall into forming a band with my daughter, with a friend of hers who has just like a tremendous repertoire of like Celtic music, and it's this amazing voice. And my college roommate who played very different instruments like concertina, Irish whistles, and my daughter's a fiddle player. So we just all kind of fell together and kind of became like moderately successful. Like we did the Philly Folk Festival. We've done a lot of regional stuff. I guess it's not quite your way, but last summer we did the Northern Appalachian Folk Festival. We highlighted there. It's in Indiana, Pennsylvania, which is more, I guess, out where you are, but, West Virginia, just got back from Kentucky. So it kind of took off, which is nice because now I don't think I'm retiring anytime in the near future, but my practice, I'm not working as many hours in it, as I did. I was always part-time in the medical practice, but my full-time job, I'm a medical editor for WebMD. So I have a lot of flexibility. My husband, who I wouldn't be doing any of this without him because he's been so supportive of the whole music thing, and my driver, my roadie, my sound man, my cameraman, and so he's totally involved in this too, which I don't know how I do without him. So that's kind of where the music is now. I put out a couple records. We have like 2 records out, a bunch of singles, and I think as far as medicine, it has really kept me grounded, like with the pop culture. Like as you get older and your kids get older, you kind of lose that whole view of the world that almost everybody else has, like the what's going on, like your, finger on the pulse thing. You kind of fall into, different routines. But music and the places I've played and the places that I continue to play kind of make me aware, which totally helps in the practice, where people's minds are at and what's important to them and what they're thinking, So to me, it's a huge part of who I am, and who you are is always a major part of how you take care of people, So
it gives us exposure to different groups of people and different mindsets and thinking patterns of people. In medicine, we tend to surround ourselves with people who are also in medicine, other doctors, nurses, PAs, other specialists that we create our friend circles out of. And then to step out of those into, a different community, an arts community, you get a whole other perspective for how people are thinking and feeling and what their attitudes are towards medicine and towards life in general, that you can kind of bring back to your practice and, have a little bit more grace or better mindset, or just different ways of approaching different people.
Yeah. Where are you in residency?
My second year at Mill Creek Community Hospital here in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
It's a Lecon hospital.
Okay. Great. Are you getting any lake effect snow today?
We are not. Knock on wood. It's a little bit of slush, but overall doing okay. Being a small city, it's got a pretty robust music and art scene. Whole street of galleries, and there's 2 local theaters, at least 2 that put on productions pretty regularly. Really grateful for my program, and Dr. Pallotta is our program director. While I was an intern, that first couple months, I was in the Sound of Music at a local production company. I was one of the nuns, and having that break in that first chunk of residency really, I think, kept me motivated and kept me going. It was just a way to step out of that lifestyle and just do something different. Get your mind off the hospital, off the clinic, off the board exams, and just be someone who enjoys doing something different.
Is it a smaller town?
Yeah, it's right in Erie. Yeah, it's a small city, Rust Belt area.
We practice in a very small city, or a big town, I guess you could call it. But it's funny because we live and work in the same town. So when I started heavily into music, I decided that I should use my maiden name. We do a lot of songs that have a lot of social justice themes and just a lot of music like that. So I figured, it's probably best if I keep, my personal life and my musical life separate. Well, practicing in a small town, that is never going to happen. So I am Mindy Murray as far as music, but as far as all of my patients, it's like, I'm going to go hear Dr. Mindy. So it's like,
got a built-in fan base.
Yes, there is definitely no hiding, from your patients. It doesn't work in a small town, and I actually grew up in this town as well. It's kind of a strange and wonderful relationship that we have with our patients. A lot of them feel like family. Yeah, some of them are family, but
it's a really great sense of community.
Yeah. And a lot of what my band does, because obviously, and if you're in the arts, it's not my retirement fund. We're not going to make a living doing this, we're lucky to be able to support our music. I'm able to make enough money to make records, to go to concerts, to drive, whatever, but it's never going to be my retirement fund. But as a band, because all of our band members have day jobs, none of us are professional, in that sense anyway. So we do a lot of fundraising. Like we just did this huge fundraising concert for the food bank. When West Virginia had floods, we went down as a band and played throughout the state and sent all that money back. It's very gratifying to be able to use something that you love to help in some way or in a different way. But this way,
Even other types of volunteering are like work, their labor, their time, their money versus something you're passionate about anyways that you want to be doing. That's an incredible kind of way to use both skills.
Exactly. And it takes away some of that onus of, hey, look at me. We're actually doing a purpose here.
Yeah.
We want to do this. I've just found so much personal reward in doing that. Like it's just, it's just something that unless there's some physical reason or whatever, I can't see myself giving it up. I see myself morphing into different things, like bringing some more keyboard with, I don't know how much you get into the recording aspect or whatever, but I've been bringing in a lot of sampled instruments like that you do with a keyboard. So like, they sample instruments like a fiddle player and they'll give you the samples of all of the notes. And then the things I can't physically play much, like maybe neck arthritis or hand arthritis are easier on a keyboard. So like, it's kind of neat to kind of, even though I may have had trouble signing in earlier today, but as far as, the technologies that are available, then it's especially exciting, for you going forward. There's so much you could do, there's so many avenues that you can take it when you don't have the time to go out and perform or, things to hone your skills. And, it's pretty cool stuff.
It's a growth. I mean, we do so much learning. We do so much continuity here that doing some learning for fun, keeps it
right.
For me in theater, picking up a new role or aging into a role, there are different parts that we can do or different types of dance or even instruments to learn for different parts. So there's always that, learning is fun. We take tests, we do learning every day, all sorts of new stuff in medicine, but to learn something just for the fun of it and the pride of being able to do it, a really cool aspect of continuing to be involved in these arts and these types of things as a physician.
You mentioned being a singer. Do you dance as well?
I can do choreography. My ability to just dance on my own, not super great. The local production company is doing Newsies in the spring, which is a very tap-heavy, acrobatics-heavy show. And I've been working with one of my friends who is a dancer, she's a dance teacher, to learn how to do some of those steps and try to audition for that show, even as just one of the background people.
Oh, very cool.
Something I've never done before.
That's very neat. That's very cool. And the other thing that I would think theater does that has helped me, like when I started out playing, I had such stage fright. I mean, like just going out in front of people, but I think they both help each other because like as a physician, like one-on-one, like when you're in the exam room, you're speaking with the person, you're trying to put them at ease. I think that all that it translates into being able to get on the stage and actually, speak and be comfortable, like in your own skin in front of people. So I think that has been helpful on both stages of life.
Definitely. It helps you kind of be the character, be the part that your patient needs you to be.
Right.
Right. Match your body language, match your facial expression, your tone of voice to the situation, to that specific patient.
Sure. I mean, because, as you're aware, when you're delivering news or they're telling you something that, you don't want to appear surprised or shocked or have them be embarrassed to tell you things, even that maybe it's something that you've never heard of before, or you just, it's like, oh, geez, I think something more is going on here. It does help you, it does help you to preserve that interaction, that feeling. Yeah. I guess that life is a stage, right?
And then when we have those types of interactions, to be able to kind of take those feelings and put them into something. It's a hard day. Maybe you're going to play or listen to some sad or angry or upbeat music, whatever's going to help you not internalize that.
Absolutely. Music is like the salve, when you come home from whatever you've dealt with all day. It's just like, you can really change your mood or uplift your mood or whatever. It's interesting. Do you write any music or have you?
I do not. I don't play any instruments or write any music. Maybe little lyrics here and there, nothing complete. Maybe that's a future me.
You never know. Like I said, if somebody were to tell me when I was your age that I would be doing this at my age, I would have laughed. It was not, on my dance card. But just funny things happen in your life, like how the whole band thing came about is kind of funny too. Like I said, I started playing like probably in the early 70s, pretty much. And I had like our church used to have folk masses. That was like the thing back then. So like I played them. And here, like for our church's like 40th celebrations of those masses, they asked me to play. And I'm there like, I don't know about that. It's been a long time. And the one woman who was a music director said, my nephew, he's really good. He'll play it with you. And I'm there like, okay. And it turned out to be, this was the gentleman I was telling you about who's in the band now with the wonderful voice, amazing guitarist, we actually pulled it off and did it. And that's what started the band. So we would always say that was an act of God
Yeah.
for this band. And then we just pulled my daughter and my college roommate, and the rest was history. But it's just funny how just little things in your life that you may not be very excited about, come upon you or are thrust in your lap, and you say, okay, I'll just do this. And it changes your life.
So. Take that opportunity when it comes, and you never know.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, everything has a purpose. You use all your talents. I feel that if anybody has talents, that they should pursue them. I've known doctors who were, wonderful artists and, like you said, actresses, actors, most of the ones I know, musicians. I mean, I think that people have to realize that you have to honor that part of your being. I don't think that you would have as much to offer to patients unless you draw on your entire person and develop that. You'd always be feeling like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. But I do believe you can do it all. I mean, not probably all at one time.
And you owe it to yourself too. Medicine is a passion, it's a calling, but it is also a career. Eventually, there'll be a time to move on to something else, and you have a passion that you can pursue, not even for financially or anything, but just for the sheer enjoyment of doing something and creating something and learning something. It keeps you going. It keeps life interesting for you. When you're multifaceted, you're not just one thing. You're many things. Like you said, our patients are too. So that helps.
Right. I'm sure you get excited when a patient walks in and they are in the arts or in drama, and you just feel that connection, and
absolutely,
since you only have a short amount of time with them, you really don't, pursue it that much. But there is this click that happens in you that, oh yeah, I'm a musician, you know where they're coming from. And it's just a very neat thing.
That's the arts and medicine.
Yes. And we wholeheartedly feel that anybody who has an inclination should chase it down. It's never too late. And that's the only other thing I should say is like, I graduated from medical school in 1984. I feel that anybody at any stage of their life can start developing their passions, and don't think you're ever too old. Could I dance right now? I'm not sure. Maybe. But yeah, there's always something that you can do to bring that passion to the surface. So,
and a little more joy in the day.
Absolutely. It's been so nice talking with you and meeting you. And, I hope to see you in a place. You have to keep us all posted as to, when you're in a production. I would love to see it.
Will do.
We travel.
I'll put it in the one newsletter.
Great. That would be great. Yes, absolutely. So
thank you so much for being here today. It was wonderful to meet you, and I will see you next time.
Okay. Take care. Bye. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of POMA Does. Be sure to subscribe to POMA Does wherever you listen to your podcasts, and tell your friends and colleagues to tune in. Learn more about osteopathic medicine and POMA on our webpage, www.poma.org, and join the conversation on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Or email us at poma@poma.org. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time for another edition of POMA Does.